Marshall Peak, Chapter 9, Treasurer Meng. Throughout his years at Sky Tower, the only person Yang Kai knew was Treasurer Meng. After all, he needed to go to him every month. Treasurer Meng had a nickname that most people called Bully Meng. Even though his position is treasurer, he still likes to extort contribution points from other disciples. Take blood-clotting cream, for example. Usually, it would be sold for around 10 contribution points. He will sell 2 bottles for the price of 3. Also, the amount of cream in 2 bottles was put into 3. It's pretty simple, he said. Buy it or get lost. Of course, Treasurer Meng doesn't always do it, only occasionally. He only targets more prosperous disciples. For poor people like Yang Kai, he doesn't even bother. Contribution points are hard to come by, so how can disciples stand by and be exploited? Every disciple that had been cheated by him would report him to the council. They have warned him numerous times, but he still continued unmoved. Furthermore, his position was crucial and no one could replace him. Due to this, all of the school's disciples hated him to the utmost limit. That old man was ruthless to everybody except Yang Kai, to whom he could do nothing. That was because he was once peeking at a female disciple and was caught red-handed by him. No respect for the elderly. What a scandal! He was caught, so Treasurer Meng could only lower his head in front of Yang Kai. Because of this, Yang Kai became very familiar with the old man. The lecherous old man with thick skin quickly adjusted his attitude and said, "Same as always." "Yeah," Yang Kai said earnestly while nodding his head. Not saying a word, Treasurer Meng took out 10 silvers from within the counter and recorded it down. Taking the silvers, he asked, "How many contribution points do I have now?" Rolling his eyes, the treasurer replied, "You earn 4 points each month, and then use 1 point to exchange for 10 silvers. That leaves you only 3 points to save, making 12 points in your account." "What? You want to exchange them for a bottle of blood-clotting cream?" "No, I was just asking," he replied while muttering. 12, eh? Even if you just wanted to exchange it for a small medicinal herb, such a small amount wouldn't even be enough." With a serious face, Treasurer Meng whispered to him, "Little Yang Kai, you want to save up and exchange it for a tempered essence pellet. But to save up for it and then to rank up with your speed, how long will that take?" "Won't I eventually reach it?" he replied, chuckling. This left Treasurer Meng speechless. He thought that with his speed, by the time he made it, this old man would have already been dead for many years. "But, Treasurer Meng, there is one thing I don't understand." "Speak," the old man said while putting on, I am in a good mood, so I will tell you attitude. "The tempered essence pellet is a precious medicine. How could it appear here?" Speaking with a proud face. "That is because this pellet is this old man's treasure. Others don't know about it." "Ah, it's yours." "It's left," Yang Kai stunned. He had always thought that this pellet belonged to the school. No wonder this old thing set such an astronomical price. "Now, don't be angry," he joyfully said while taking a drink from the teapot. "I won't bully you. As long as you bring enough contribution points to exchange, old Meng will give it to you. For my word is something. I will collect it," he said, nodding. With his face downcast, old Meng asked Yang Kai, "I heard that you got a beating yesterday." Immediately, Yang Kai turned around and left. From behind, Treasurer Meng shouted, "Let this old man ask. Don't be in such a hurry to walk away," he said, but really he was gloating inside. Seeing that Yang Kai had no intention of stopping, he straightened up and yelled, "Little Yang Kai, you should hurry up and leave. Sky Tower is no place for you to be. Sooner rather than later you will be killed." Pausing, but without turning around, Yang Kai sighed. "I have no place to return to." He was finished if he left. After holding the teapot for a while, Treasurer Meng said, "Then why did you come?" tempered essence pellet. This expensive treasure, how could this old man own it? He only made up this lie to give you hope. He had never thought you would take it seriously. Yang Kai then hurriedly returned to his hut, put the broom away, and briskly walked out. He was going to the small village outside of Tang Lin to buy food with his 10 slivers, like he did every month. For the first time, this trip didn't make him feel tired. Previously, he would get nasty asthma attacks every time he walked down this path. But this time, not only did this not happen, but his body felt strengthened compared to before and less strained walking down the trail. Even if he walked 100 miles, he thought he wouldn't tire. Is it the golden skeleton? This made him think of something that happened this morning. While he was sweeping, another disciple crashed into him. Still, contrary to what usually occurred, he held his ground very stably while the disciple fell. Although this wasn't much, in retrospect it was unusual. How could he not have fallen with his weak physique, but the other party lost? It had always been him who fell. Growing increasingly excited, he thought about the changes the golden skeleton had brought to his body. Although these changes were minor, gradually, they could culminate into significant changes over time. Thinking of this, Yang Kai recovered and soon walked to town. Looking around, he went to the left-hand side of the street. He was going to a rice shop. The shop wasn't big, and the owner was surnamed He and was a local resident. He treated all customers the same. This was one of the reasons why Yang Kai bought from him. Such a small store could be found everywhere. Black Plum Village was very busy because in the surrounding area, apart from them, there was not only Sky Tower School but also the Windy Rain sect. The relationship between the two could be considered good. The other small schools couldn't compare to these two main sects, for they didn't even own their land. The village could sell many different weapons and maintain such a bustling environment full of wares because of these two main sects, creating an environment just like the Han Dynasty's capital. After walking around for a while, Yang Kai inadvertently walked past an alley where some people were gathered. He didn't know what they were doing, but they were suspicious and gave Yang Kai an extremely vicious glare. Chuckling lightly, he just followed the principle. If they don't harm me, I won't harm them. He just ignored them. But among those three, one dressed similarly to Yang Kai,